What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the airport. Welcome back to a brand new video, man. We are here. We are back with the brand new video for you guys. Listen, we're not going to sugarcoat much in this video. We're going to get right into it. You know, make sure y'all leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. You guys know the drill, man. You guys know by now. Thank you guys for 2,500. I really appreciate all of you guys trying to get to 3K as soon as possible, and then onwards and upwards from there. Really appreciate you guys. Day ones. Doesn't matter when you guys subscribed or joined the community. It doesn't really matter. Just all the love is much appreciated, and I love you guys, and thank you guys so much for these continued support on all my platforms. So yeah, let's get right into it, man. We're just gonna get right into it. We lost last night in a terrible fashion, and yeah, man, it was just really tough. It was really tough last night watching that game against the Toronto Raptors, who, by the way, traded their best player in Pascal Siakam literally hours before the game. He got traded away. They were playing with a very young rebuilding squad, and they beat the brakes off of us. And we absolutely just got killed from the opening possession. It wasn't even close from the jump. I think the first quarter score was like 41-14 or some type of score like that. Yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And listen, man, it's tough always losing games like this. You know, I'm not somebody who overreacts to games, but the topic of today's video is not just about the game. It's about one of the players on this team who, you know, I have nothing but admiration and love for his career, and I think that he's going to go down as one of the best players at his position of all time. But I just think his time is up as a Miami Heat player, and frankly, as an NBA starter, I just don't think he's going to cut it anymore on any team, let alone the Miami Heat. So we're going to talk about him. Ironically, he used to play for the team that we just got blown out by. Last night was a crazy game. We should have won that game. You know, it shouldn't have been a blowout. We should have won that game. The Raptors are not more talented than we are. We had our big three playing. Cleveland beat Milwaukee. Indiana just traded for Siakam. New York just traded for OG, and I've only lost 2 games since. Those are the 3 teams that are around us in the standings. Obviously, the top 3 have solidified themselves in the standings so far. But from 4 to 7 is those 3 teams that I just named and us. So all those 3 teams got better. Cleveland has been on a roll. Indiana is going to be winning games with Siakam in the lineup, and then New York has been on a roll as well. So we have to make sure we don't get left behind and get put into the play-in, because it's going to be tough clawing out of the play-in again. So for multiple reasons, that's a game we should have won. You know, the schedule is not going to get any easier now. We have a lot of tough games coming up after these next couple of games. I think the games just become really tough against elite level opposition, playoff and championship contenders. So that game was a must win, taking care of your business and making sure you beat the teams you're supposed to beat, because it's going to be tough otherwise. Yeah, tough game, tough loss, but Kyle Lowry is the topic of today's video. And you know, again, if y'all know me, you guys know I'm a very level-headed fan. I don't really like flip-flop too much. My opinions usually never change, as long as the players are proving my opinion right. You know, if it's been a consistent stretch of somebody who's proven my opinion wrong, then I will change my opinion. But I don't usually change my opinion based off of 1 or 2 games. I stay very even-keeled and consistent for a long time. Like, whether a player's playing good or bad, I usually try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't really overreact too much. I'm not reactionary at all. But it's just that point in time where, you know, not only because we just lost this game, but also because the trade deadline is coming up, I just think it has to be addressed. And I think there's an elephant in the room on this team, and I just think it's the point guard position. Nobody seems to want to talk about the point guard position. Nobody seems to want to talk about players that should be traded. A lot of people are just talking about players who should be traded, who should we trade for, instead of players who should we trade away. And it's like, bro, we can talk about whoever we want to get, but obviously we have to address who we want to get rid of for that to happen. And Kyle Lowry, like it or not, is the first name on that list. Now, earlier it would be Duncan Robinson if it wasn't just for the crazy performance that he's been putting on continued from last playoffs all the way until now. He doesn't look like a guy that we're going to trade anytime soon. And the reason that he was even in the conversations was because of his contract. Now you look at Lowry, and Lowry is the guy who's going to be, if there was ever an odd man out, if there was ever a guy who's like, okay, he's probably going to be traded to upgrade this team, it's probably going to be Kyle. Now, Kyle is obviously Jimmy's best friend. You know, they have a very good relationship. You know, Spo likes him, Pat likes him. We traded away one of our best point guards in franchise history. I believe, for sure, top 3. Obviously, Hardaway and Chalmers. But I think this guy Dragic and Chalmers were neck and neck. You could even I think Dragic was better than Chalmers. I know Chalmers has the nostalgia bias with the big 3, but Dragic was an all-star with us. So we traded away that guy for Kyle Lowry. And Kyle Lowry was supposed to be the guy who was going to put us over the top when we traded for him. Him, Jimmy, and Bam were supposed to be a really good big 3. Just looking at what he did in Toronto, and he just never, ever replicated that form. And for years, 2 years now, or more than that, obviously, because this is 2024. We signed him in 2021. So almost 3 years it's been since we've had Kyle Lowry on the Heat. Not one time have I ever been secure about his place on this team. I've never been like, okay, I would like Kyle Lowry to be a Miami Heat player. Like, I've never been like that. Now, obviously, he's had good games here and there. I'm not going to say his whole Heat career has been garbage, but it's like for what we paid to get him, for what we are paying him right now for him to be on our team, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all, like at all. And he will have these once in a blue moon type games where it's like, oh, he drops 20 points, or he has some good games here and there. But I can probably count on my hand the amount of 20 point per game or 20 point games that Kyle Lowry's had as a Heat player. And it's not just about points, but what does this guy do on the basketball floor? Just looking at it and dissecting it. He is a good player at drawing charges, and he's a good player at getting in the passing lanes and getting steals. But apart from that, on the floor, I don't really see much in his game. Yeah, he's a good playmaker, but his playmaking hasn't been the same. So when you look at it, it's like, what does he really bring to the table on the floor? Now, off the floor, I get it. He's a very good leader. He's a veteran presence. He is all about the intangibles. He's just a winning player, and he does a lot of things, little things off the stat sheet and stuff like that. I appreciate all of that. I'm not just a box score watcher. I watch the games, and I understand the impact that he brings. But as a starting point guard of a championship contender, you have to bring more than just hustle. You have to. That's not enough. I'm sorry. He's not just the starting point guard of this team. He is the only point guard on this team. And he is getting paid $30 million a year to draw charges, to get steals. We're paying a guy this much money. We're investing our whole point guard position into this guy. It's not enough. It's not close to being enough. He needs to do more. He needs to do way more. And the problem is, it's not even his fault, because the team didn't choose to invest in another point guard. They were completely fine with having Kyle Lowry as their own point guard. Obviously, we all know what happened with Dame in the trade market. Drew Holiday was also there. They chose to stay pat, and just stick with Lowry. They signed Richardson. Richardson is not a point guard. Whoever was trying to fool themselves thinking that he was a point guard, he's not. Don't even get me started on him, because he is another guy who I might have to make a video on him, because the only reason I'm not making a video on him is because I feel like it's been very early. I don't think it's fair for me to judge Richardson off of this sample size, but I've seen Kyle Lowry put up stinkers for 2-3 years now. Like, I just think it's time for him for us to move on from him. Unless he's coming off the bench, I don't want to see him in a Heat uniform anymore. I don't want to. I don't want to see him starting for us. I don't. Nobody's winning a championship with Kyle Lowry as their point guard in 2024. I'm sorry. I don't even think the worst teams in the league would try to start him. Would the Pistons start him? No. Would the Wizards start him? No. Would the Trailblazers start him? No. Who would start him on their team? Name me 5 teams that Kyle Lowry would start on in 2024. I cannot go past 2. Maybe Utah, because Utah doesn't have a point guard. In the East, I don't know. Charlotte has a point guard. Detroit has a point guard. Washington has a point guard. Chicago maybe? I don't know. I think Caruso's better than him. Toronto. I think maybe Toronto, but I think Schroeder's better than him. But even without Schroeder, Scotty Barnes is like a point forward. Like who is gonna start Kyle Lowry in 2024? I cannot name more than 2 teams. You can't get to 5. Like, and we're supposed to be contending for a championship, and this is our starting point guard. Like, we're cooked. He has to go, unless he's coming off the bench, because it's no coincidence that when he came off the bench in the playoffs last season, that was the best he's ever played for us. And don't get me wrong, he wasn't like elite, but he was good, and he was solid. And that's all I'm asking for Kyle Lowry. I don't want him to be a starting point guard on this team. I just want him to be a rotational piece, to come off the bench and play some good minutes and provide a spark whenever needed. Not with his scoring, but with his playmaking, with his headiness, with his veteran play. I just want him to kind of provide that tempo and energy. He was supposed to come in and speed the game up. We are second to last in pace. So what does he do? Like, we need our point guard to be a scoring threat. Teams are just leaving him wide open because they know he's not going to shoot. And they know when he shoots, he's probably not going to make it. So we just have a guy out there who's just a black hole on offense. We're playing 4-on-5 offensively. Our center can't shoot. Our small forward can't shoot. He doesn't even want to shoot any shot. At least our center and small forward can score the ball in the paint. Our shooting guard is shooting 25 shots a game. And our power forward is a second-year Nikola Jovic who's just developing. The worst shot balance that I've seen in a long time. Like, what is that? The point guard of a championship contender needs to not just be somebody who's gonna just be a hustle player. He has to impact the game offensively. The point guard is the most important position in all of basketball. Even the guards who never scored the ball, like Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo used to get 20 plus assists, 15 plus assists. He used to impact the game. He used to control the pace. He used to control the tempo. Does Lowry do that? No, he doesn't. We were talking about Lowry trying to spoon feed Bam. Where has this been? He hasn't done that at all. So what does he do? We just need an upgrade. We just need an upgrade desperately. In 2024, a 37-year-old Kyle Lowry is not going to cut it at that point guard position. I'm sorry. Hustle is not the only thing you can have as a starting point guard of a championship team, because that's all he brings. He cannot do anything else on the basketball floor. He cannot. So, yeah, I mean, that's just all I have to say about Lowry, man. I didn't make this video to just rant about him, but it was tough not to talk about him, because it's like, bro, I've been avoiding this topic for so long, and with the trade deadline coming up, Rozier wants to be here. Go get Rozier. Trade Lowry. Obviously, the contract will probably match Lowry in a pick for Rozier. That's a W. Go get Rozier. Go get Rozier right now. Or go get somebody who can score. Go get somebody who's an upgrade. Or if you don't want to trade Lowry because he's Jimmy's guy, bring him off the bench. Don't start him, please. I am begging you, Spo. I'm begging you, Pat. Do something so we don't have to watch this guy be the starting point guard every single night, because it's not going to result in any success. Nobody's winning a championship with Kyle Lowry as their point guard. I'm sorry. In 2024, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. And anybody who thinks it's going to happen, I'm sorry. You guys are living in the past, because Kyle Lowry is nowhere near the same Kyle Lowry he was in Toronto. That's a pipe dream. We're not getting that Kyle Lowry ever again. So yeah, that's just what I have to say about Kyle Lowry, man. I mean, let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below about him. And yeah, I'll see you later as always, man. Have a nice